After nearly 6 years since the height of its power in TOS format, Orcust is finally getting new support in Battles of Legends Monster Mayhem. The set introduces 2 new interesting cards to the archetype and even gives some of the new and old cards a special Orcust rarity. That being said, here's my deck profile for the new Orcust cards so that way you can play it and you don't have to be in TOS format to do it. So for the monsters, I play 3 copies of Girsu, the Orcust Mech Knight. You know, this is one of the best starters to have because you get to send an Orcust for free, and you can summon a token to do some link plays with, so it's a really good card to start off in your opening hand. I then play kind of the traditional Orcust package, 2 Nightmare, since it can send any Orcust you need, 3 Harp Horror because it can summon any you need from deck, 2 Symbol Skeleton because of the revival power, and if you lose one, you want to have that revive from grave ability. 2 Brass Bombard. If you get one of your starting combo pieces in your hand, it is a good card to have if you need it. If you want, you can probably get away with playing it at 1-2, but that's up to you. I then play 1 copy of World Wand, and then 1 copy of the new card everyone's playing, 1 copy of World Crown. Basically, you're able to special summon it from your hand to a Zona Link monster points to, and if a monster that's summoned from the extra deck activates its effect, you can just tribute it to negate it. So it's a good negation or extender depending on how you want to use it. I also play 3 copies of Diabellstar. The reason I'm playing Diabellstar in this deck is because I am running the Azamina package, which just helps get out some additional negates. Plus, it's a good way to pitch Orcust cards from your hand without needing to use Brass Bombard to get them onto the field first. So it's a good extender for Orcust too. I also play 1 copy of Armageddon Knight. Call me sentimental. You don't have to if you don't want to, but personally, I do like it, you know. But that could be nostalgic me talking from when I used to play this deck in 2019. I also play 3 Ash and 3 Mulcharmy. That's it for the monsters. Now on to the spell and traps. For the spells, not much has changed. Again, most of the changes to this deck take place in the extra deck, so the main deck's pretty much the same. I play 1 copy of Babel, 1 copy of Return, 2 copies of Deception for the Azamina package, 1 the Hollowed Azamina, 1 Link into the Vrains, 3 Wanted, and 1 Foolish Burial. I will say, I guess the only difference is that we play the Wanted/Azamina cards now. If you want, one thing you can do with this deck is you can play a mini IB package and then also have World Legacy Succession in here. That's a card you can play if you want. Personally, I'm not running IB in this version, so... Hi, Tag Team and Post here. I realized after filming this that it is worth putting in the IB package because when I was doing some test hands, I realized that starting with cards like Symbol Skeleton or Brass Bombard, it's harder to make plays, and surprisingly, the difference of 1 monster fixes this, so adding in World Legacy Succession to Monster Reborn something kind of fixes that problem. So, editor, if you would, see that card, get rid of it. We're not playing Link into the Vrains anymore. Replace that with World Legacy Succession. We're going to do the same thing in the extra deck. So you're going to hear from me again. Okay, back to the normal video. Now on to the traps. For the traps, I play 1 copy of Crescendo, 3 copies of Imperm, and 3 copies of Impulse since I don't think we use a single light monster. The only card that's really at risk by that effect would be Mulcharmy. But again, if you're not activating it turn 1, chances are you're not going to be activating it. So just make sure you use this before you use Impulse if you have them both in your starting hand. That's it for the spells and traps. Now on to the extra deck. Now this is where we start getting some new cards. For the extra deck, again, I play the 2 main Azamina cards, both of which I'm probably unable to pronounce, but they're the main ones. And of course we have a little text at the bottom that pops up to tell you the names, because I don't know them. I'm so bad when it comes to pronouncing stuff, it's really not good. Then for the Link monsters, I play 2 copies of the new Galatea AI card. It's basically a normal Link 1 monster nowadays where it can search out Orchestrated Babel, your field spell, or a World Legacy monster. The only thing is that you have to discard a card to use it, which means you can use it every turn if you want. Additionally, you could also send it from your deck to the graveyard instead of adding it to the hand. Lastly, when it's in the graveyard, you can banish another Orcust from your graveyard to special summon it, but it does then mean you have something else you need to recur, so it's up to you. Then I play 2 copies of Galatea, the normal one. Again, this is a very good card, but because of the new Galatea AI, I don't think we're going to be relying on Galatea as much anymore, which is why I cut one down in order to make room for the 2 new cards. I also play one Long Girsu, one of your main boss monsters for the deck, and then one in Long Girsu, the new Link 4 monster. It has a really interesting effect too. Basically, you can add back a World Legacy or Orcust monster from your banishment to your hand, shuffle a card from your hand into your deck, and then just change of heart one of your opponent's monsters. Plus, if it's sent from the extra monster zone to the graveyard, you can banish it from the graveyard, and then you can non-target send a card from the field to the graveyard, similar to Dingirsu's effect when it's special summoned. It's probably better to use this effect than leave it in the graveyard, because although you could technically revive it with Symbol Skeleton, this card can only use its send effect when it's banished from the GY after being sent there from the extra monster zone. Since reviving it won't put it back in the extra monster zone, it's better to try and recur it later on than wasting the free send, in my opinion. Then I play your other big boss monster, Orcust. I actually don't know if that's the name, because that's not in English. In addition to 1 IP, 1 SP, 1 Dark, and of course, 2 copies of Dingirsu, because I still think this is one of the best cards for the deck, and then 1 copy of Typhon to top it off. That's it for the extra deck. Again, it's pretty standard for Orcust, just with the addition of the 2 new cards and then the Azamina engine. Hi, me again. Like I said, we're getting rid of 1 card in the extra deck to make room for Ib, so I would suggest, editor if you would, getting rid of Dark. But again, it's up to you what you want to take out, if you prefer maybe just 1 Galatea AI, but personally, I'm recommending Dark is on the chopping block in exchange for Ib. Now let's finish it off with some combos. So for the first combo, you don't need a lot to do it. All you need is Girsu and a monster you can discard for Galatea AI's effect. So, starting the combo, here's how it works. First, you normal summon Girsu, then activate its effect to send an Orcust monster from your deck to your grave. We'll go for Harporer. Then you can use its effect to put a token on your board and on your opponent's. So, token on each side. Then we can use Girsu as link material for Galatea AI. Then we'll use Galatea AI's effect, pitching Mulcharmy, to search for Orchestrated Babel. I know a lot of people would normally go for World Crown here, but I think this combo can get around using this card as an extender, at least with just the 1 card in your hand. Then we'll activate Harporer's effect, banishing it from the graveyard in order to summon the one and only Orcust Nightmare. Then we'll use these 2 as link material for the normal Galatea, which we're not going to use its effect yet. Now we'll use Galatea AI's effect to banish an Orcust monster from the graveyard, Girsu, in order to summon herself back. Then we'll banish Orcust Nightmare and use its effect to send Symbol Skeleton from deck to grave. Then we'll use these 3 cards in order to summon our new Link 4. Then we'll do the traditional banished Symbol Skeleton from the graveyard in order to summon Galatea back, use Galatea's effect to shuffle one of our Orcusts. Your call which one to choose. We'll shuffle back Orcust Nightmare. The reason you shouldn't shuffle back Girsu is because we'll use this guy to add him back to our hand so that we can use him for next turn. Then off of Galatea, we'll set Orcust Crescendo. Then, of course, we'll use Galatea as material for Dingirsu, and then attach Symbol Skeleton to Dingirsu. Now, while it may seem like we have an issue if we don't have another monster for the Link summon here just to get this card off the board and these into the graveyard, we're actually going to use Endling Girsu's effect to add Girsu back to our hand, and then shuffle it if we don't have something else, and then take control of the opponent's token that we put on their board. We'll then use these 2 as link material for the summon of IP. Now we have something to summon if we steal an opponent's monster with Endling Girsu. So on the opponent's turn, what we would do is we would use Symbol Skeleton's effect as a quick effect to summon back Dingirsu and send one of our opponent's monsters to the graveyard for free. Then after that, we would either steal one of their monsters by adding one of these back to our hand, or if they don't have a monster we can steal because of some effect, we would just use these 2 to summon SP. But here's the thing. You have a choice here if you don't want to summon SP. What you could do instead is with these 2 monsters on the field, activate Galatea AI's effect in the graveyard, banishing Galatea to summon it back. You could then use IP and Galatea AI as material to summon Longirsu. This would give you the ability to negate a monster's effect by shuffling back 2 of your Orcust monsters. And then you would need to save one, of course, for Longirsu. If your opponent summons a monster and you steal it, you should still use Galatea AI's effect because you need an extra card in order to use Longirsu's effect. Honestly, it may be easier just to get out the SP, but it's an option if you want to use it. So, that being said, if you go this route, you'll have Dingirsu on your field at the end of the turn, along with Longirsu, the ability to negate 1 of 2 monsters, and then Longirsu to steal 1 of your opponent's cards. You'll also have Orcust Crescendo, which you can use to negate pretty much anything. That's it for the first combo. Let's go over what you can do if you only draw something like Harp Horror. If the only cards you have in your hand are Harp Horror and a monster you can discard, here's what you could do instead. You would normal summon Harp Horror and then use it as material for Galatea AI. You would then use Galatea AI to pitch your monster and then search out World Legacy Crown. You'd then summon World Legacy Crown and use the 2 as material for Galatea. You'd then banish Orcust Harp Horror to activate its effect, special summoning Girsu from the deck. Then you would use Girsu's effect to send Orcust Nightmare from deck to grave. Then you would banish Orcust Nightmare and activate its effect to send Symbol Skeleton. Then you would use these 2 as material for something like Longirsu. Then you would banish Symbol Skeleton in order to summon back Galatea. Then, same thing as normal, Galatea shuffles back 1 of your Orcusts in order to set Babel. Activate Babel, now everything's a quick effect. Then you would banish Girsu, summon back Galatea AI, before going into the normal Xyz summon and reattach of Dingirsu. This board is pretty much the same as last time, with the only difference being that we have Longirsu out instead of our other monster, and we don't have access to Orcust Crescendo. So it does hurt us a little bit, but because those tokens didn't come out, we don't have that extra monster to summon with, and we don't have something to steal, so we needed World Crown instead. But from here, you could do the normal, link these 2 off into IP. Then, on your opponent's turn, you would be able to do a couple things. First, you would banish Symbol Skeleton in order to summon back Dingirsu, send an opponent's card to the graveyard. Then, you would banish Galatea and summon back AI. From there, you could do a couple of things. You could, if you wanted, use these 4 as material to summon out Longirsu. And then you'll have the ability to steal a monster and negate more potential options. But if you didn't want to do that, you could leave Dingirsu on the field and just use these 2 as material for SP. So again, there's a couple options, but I do think it's probably better to go into Longirsu, because then you'll have the ability to shuffle back 1, 2, 3 cards, and then negate 1 of 2 monsters in addition to stealing another. So honestly, not a bad board, and it's pretty cool that we can go this far using just 1.5 cards. So now let's try doing a test hand to see how I'd play out the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Interesting. Okay. So the first thing I would most likely do then is activate the Hallowed Azamina, sending Seeker Sinful Spoils, and just get out the Omni Negate immediately. Then I would normal summon Harp Horror and basically do the combo I told you guys about before using just Harp Horror. Activate Galatea AI to search World Crown. Then use World Crown and Galatea AI to summon Galatea, banish Harp Horror to summon Girsu, and send Nightmare. Then I would banish Nightmare to send Symbol Skeleton. Then I would use these 2 as material for Longirsu, and then banish Symbol Skeleton to get back Galatea. Then I would activate Galatea's effect, shuffling back Nightmare to set Babel. Activate it, now everything's a quick effect, we love that. Then I would use Galatea AI from the graveyard by banishing Girsu, just to have on the board. Then Galatea turns into Dingirsu, equipping Symbol Skeleton, or not equipping, but attaching Symbol Skeleton. Then use these 2 as material to summon IP and then pass turn. On my opponent's turn, I'm going to have Longirsu's effect, shuffling back these 2 in order to negate a monster's effect. Then I'll also be able to banish Symbol Skeleton, send a monster with Dingirsu, then banish Galatea to summon out Galatea AI, use those 3 as material for Endling Girsu, and then steal an additional monster. Pretty good end board. Because of the Azumina stuff, I just ended on an extra negate, but it's pretty much the same as the other combo. But if this is the hand I got, I'd be pretty happy because I'd have my negate, my disruptions, such as Ascend, and then a steal. So honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more deck profiles like this one, make sure to check out my playlist here. Or if you're interested in more comedic, light-hearted videos, check out my playlist here. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.